minutes past 7 p.m. live here in Abuja, the nation's capital. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm sure Kimbaloye in the FCT Abuja. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. Let's get started with some of the top stories in the land. We're monitoring for you from every nook and cranny of our country, the streets and the protests that is stormed by the Nigerian Labour Congress and its members who are agitated over the prices and the cost of commodities in the country, which has spiraled over the last few weeks, and agitations across the land on what the federal government could have done. Now, the Nigerian Labour Congress have stormed the streets from Lagos to Abuja to Bayelsa, Delta, Edo, Kaduna, Abeokuta, Minna, Yobe, Maiduguri, Taraba. We'll be bringing you pictures from all over the country today, and we'll be hearing soundbites on what exactly are the agitations of the Nigerian Labour and his members. Stick around with me, everyone, because tonight I'll be bringing you insight on what the federal government stand is. And of course, we'll be hearing some very interesting situation regarding the state of the Nigerian judiciary. Our focus will be Governor Adeleke, the judiciary in Osun State. What is going on? The judiciary in that state is on holiday since last year. We're finding out why. My guest is a very prominent rights activist and a senior lawyer. So stick around with me. But first and foremost, let's check out some of your political roundup stories.
President Bola Tinubu has launched the handbook on expatriate employment levy. At the event which took place in the council chamber, the president said the scheme is a game changer which will add technology transfer and save brain drain in the country. In attendance was the Minister of Interior, Olubimi Ojo, the Chairman, Senate Committee on Interior, Senator Adams Oshiomhole, and other top government officials. The Central Bank Governor, Yemi Cardoso, has been speaking of why the Monetary Policy Committee raised the benchmark interest rate by 400 basis points to a record 22.75%. Mr. Yemi Cardoso read the communique of the first MPC under his leadership, who explains that its decision is hinged on controlling the inflation rate and the foreign exchange market. Mr. Cardoso says Bureau de Change BDC operations in the country should not be an all-commerce affairs, noting that the Apex Bank is putting strict regulations together to sanitize the market against arbitrage. The All Progressives Congress, APC, and its candidate in the November 2023 governorship election in Bayelsa State, Timi Silva, has formally closed a petition challenging the declaration of Governor Doye Diri as winner of the election. Mr. Silva, who was present at the day's proceedings at the APC, closed their case after calling 52 witnesses to testify to substantiate the allegations against the conduct and the declaration of results in the November 11 governorship election. The governor of Benue State, Hyson Ali, has begun the probe of the last administration with the institution of 2 commissions of inquiries to look into the income and expenditure from May 29, 2015 to May 28, 2023, including contract awards, bailout funds, and Paris Club refunds. At the inauguration of the commissions, Mr. Ali attacked the second commission of inquiry to investigate the sales and lease of government assets done that should change government interests and make appropriate recommendations on the way forward.
Identify cases of misappropriation, abuse, misuse, and diversion of the Benue State funds from 29th May 2015 to 28th May 2023.
Some supporters of the President Bola Tinubu today stormed the National Assembly complex in support of the reforms of the present administration to reposition the country. The protesters who converged at the Abuja Unity Fountain staged a peaceful walk to the National Assembly complex, calling on the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, to call off their nationwide strike action. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, is asking Nigerians to collaborate with the military in its non-kinetic approach to fight against insurgency. At a seminar organized by Defense Correspondents Association of Nigeria, General Musa said with the emerging security threats facing Nigeria as a nation, there is an urgent need for Nigerians to desist from running down the country through negative comments capable of demoralizing the military.
Thank you so much. And there you have it. You've been served with your political roundup story. So let's get started. I'll take you tonight through the streets of Nigeria, beginning from Abuja. Members of the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, today marched through the streets in protest of the biting economic hardship in the country. Labour and federal government authorities had met on Monday a late push to stop the protest, but the meeting ended with no agreement reached between the parties. As early as 7 a.m., we started seeing protesters started gathering in different parts of the country, bearing placards and putting on the paraphernalia of the NLC, the Nigerian Labour Congress, says the two-day protest by members of the union is about hunger in the land and not just a clamor for a review of the minimum wage. But the president of the NLC, Joe Ajero, says that contrary to some claims, the union is not protesting only about a hike in the country's minimum wage of 30,000. Take a listen to Joe Ajero.
Where it's pinching us. You know, the tendency for you to have a president and the ministers and advisors around will not tell him exactly what happens, you know, is possible. So we are out to do a protest today to register before Nigerians the level of suffering, and we are calling it peaceful rally. You know, the meeting you saw, there was a meeting on Sunday till late, there was a meeting yesterday till late, all was aimed at saying, don't come out. But we are out, you know, and out we are for a peaceful rally to tell Nigerians that we are hungry. There is hunger in the land. There was hunger in the land, but it wasn't this bad until deregulation. And then after deregulation, we proposed all that we needed to. If they had solved the problem of transportation immediately, they would have solved almost 50% of the problem.
That is the president of the NLC. We understand that meetings are ongoing, consultations about this two-day warning strike. This is in isolation of the threatened 14-day ultimatum, which we could dovetail into a nationwide strike action and downtooling by the Nigerian Labour and its members across the country. But in Lagos, what happened? Interesting scenario. We in fact saw pictures of members of the Nigerian police force doling out water, refreshment, biscuits to protesters. And at the end of the day, we saw in the lead the lawyer, human rights activist to the Nigerian Labour Congress, Mr. Femi Falana, who was also leading the pack. And he's also his views about the agitation. Take a listen to Mr. Femi Falana.
Every tier of government should manage its own affairs, should be accountable to the people. We are saying that since fuel subsidy was removed, the federal government, state government, and local government are smiling to the banks without any commensurate improvement in the lives of our people. What we're asking the government to do is to sponsor a bill and enact a law to provide security for our people. Because what we are talking about, when you are talking of insecurity in Nigeria, we only address physical insecurity, whether we should have enough police personnel and gadgets for them. What of social security? If young people are not productive, if they are not meaningfully engaged, they will take to crimes.
That's Mr. Femi Falana there. Tonight, we'll be getting some insight from the federal government. What exactly is going on? What is the reaction of the government of the day to some of these issues? I'll be joined by a very top official of government to give us an insight on what they are doing differently to make sure that this does not escalate further. But before we get to speak with the officials of government, let's speak with yet another rights activist, a very senior lawyer, professor of law, who joins us live from South Africa. Professor Mike Ozekome. He joins me live from South Africa. It's good to see you. Professor, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
How are you, Sean?
Some Nigerians are not smiling. Things are hard, they say, and the protests on the streets of Nigeria. Let me get your view first and foremost. In those days, you would side by side with Chief Gani Fawemi, you will march the street. But what is going on in our land today? What do you think could be the way out in this engagement with government, the policies of government to the Nigerian people?
It's so sorry, a sight. If I were in Nigeria, presently, I would have joined a protest. Although this is something we started more than 40 years ago, one is never too old to protest against ills of the society. The truth is that this government started on a very, very wrong footing. You remove subsidy without any attempt to cushion the devastating effect of this removal. Today, transportation that was probably 100 or 200 naira is about 1,000 to 1,500 naira. Some of us who are senior lawyers, whom God has blessed to have some little means, we had to increase the salary of staff. We have to continue the system of cooking for staff to make sure that they eat. In other words, Nigeria has gone back to where we were about 1983, where it was actually hunger and starvation. Remember the Thai Sholaring panel or committee that had to be set up to standardize food prices? We are back there. In other words, the problem of Nigeria today now are not even problems of development, how to build a house, how to buy a car. It is how to eat, even if it is 2 meals a day. So it is a situation that this government has to do everything about. But to me, it is most embarrassing when I see officials of this government blaming the Jonathan government that left office in 2015, nearly 10 years ago. Even ironically, blaming their own predecessor that they took over from within the same APC government. I think everything has gone wrong. I think this government needs to go back to the drawing board, make it a tabula rasa, go back to the drawing board, go back to brass tacks and say, where did we miss it? Microeconomics, how did we come here? How? When did CBN become a commercial bank doling out money? Why have BDCs, people who sit under the trees and small tables, how can they control your economy and determine how much a dollar should cost? Why has the government dollarized the economy that you can even see government officials spending money and spraying dollars? Why are things so bad? And the way we are going, it's already 1,000 naira, 50 naira to the dollar. When I predicted last year it will go to 1.5, some people said I was crazy. But can I now predict, if we are not careful, we'll be going to a situation where we once saw in Ghana, where they were carrying their cedi in baskets to the market to go and buy things where they would put in their pocket. Before the end of this year, if we are not careful, the naira may exchange to up to 4,000 naira to the dollar. Do you know why?
Prof,
Because there's nothing
things changed rapidly in the last 2 days. The naira was exchanging in the parallel market for up to 1,600, 1,700. In fact, at some point, it went to about 1,850 or thereabout. But it since come down to about 1,004 thereabout. I don't know how much is sold today. But it looks like in the last 24 hours, things are really dropping. But when you say drawing board, what is drawing board? Because this is a new government who says that it's going to bring renewed hope to Nigerians. What is the meaning of drawing board anyway?
This is not renewed hope. This is renewed poverty. But we were already having poverty before. But it is now renewed on a higher scale. Going back to the drawing board by that, I mean that this government should try to think outside the box. If possible, think without the box. New innovations. Look at what is going on in Argentina and other countries. It was one great philosopher who said, if you continue to do things using the same methods by which you did them before, only a madman will do that. So this government cannot think that mere removal of oil subsidy was the magical one we were looking for. And I knew it would not work. By the way, what is this oil subsidy? Because I still hear some people again say the government has to remove oil subsidy. So when will this subsidy be removed finally? What is this subsidy? When does it stop? Why are we operating cloud hackers economy, what he called the circulate economy of consuming what we do not produce and producing what we do not consume. That is what is going on. So what is this subsidy? When is it going to stop? What are the palliatives? What are the measures to cushion the effect? None in place. That is what I mean by government going back to the drawing board. They wanted to come to power. The people have given them power. But the people are now the ones demonstrating because they are hungry. And I was shocked to hear one government official saying these spontaneous demonstrations were sponsored. Sponsored by who? Do you think hunger knows politics? Hunger does not understand APC or PDP or Labour Party. Hunger is neither Fulani, nor Hausa, nor Edo, nor Igbo, nor Yoruba. Hunger does not have color. Hunger is hunger. And a hungry man is an angry man. And that is why these spontaneous demonstrations are coming up from Ibadan to Shogbo, from Kano to Sokoto, from Aba to Owerri, from Benin to Enugu, from Port Harcourt to Calabar. And you are saying these are sponsored? Hello? When the house is on fire, the blind will know because they will feel it. The lame will know because they will hear about it. The dumb will know because they will feel it. Things are bad.
Bad.
And it has never been so bad.
Yeah.
So let's not pretend. Please, for God's sake.
Yeah. Let me take you quickly, because one of the major reasons why I invited you, this is just coincidence that this is happening today. One of the reasons why I spoke with you over the weekend is the worry and concern of very senior member of the bar. And as a very senior member of the inner bar, you are also worried when we had the conversation about what is going on in Osun State. The judiciary has been on vacation, not a voluntary vacation, a compulsory vacation, which is called a violent civil vacation, a holiday, so to say. What is going on in Osun State? Judiciary is on perpetual holiday there since December last year, or November, thereabout.
It's such a shame that the judiciary in Osun State has been on forced strike and vacation since November 22 last year. By the way, I am patron to JUSUM, the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria. And because of that, I know their plight. I know their problems. We usually say the judiciary is being buffeted by the executive or by the legislature. But this is a situation where the judiciary is actually self-destruct, engaging in self-immolation, thereby exactly bringing to fruition what Alexander Hamilton once said in his Federalist paper number 78, that the judiciary is the weakest of the three arms of government because it does not have armies to defend itself, and it does not have a purse or finances to control. But Sean, the irony is that this time, it is not the other arms of government that are dealing with the judiciary. It is the judiciary itself that is dealing with itself. The chief judge of Osun State, Justice Oyebola Adepele Ojo, should, to me, climb down from her high horse and attend to the burning issues at stake. She should not behave like Nero, who was playing games when Rome was on fire. She should stop going to Canada for 6 weeks when her judiciary is at a standstill. It is not another arm of government. It is the same judiciary. Judicial workers are entitled to certain perquisites of office, their salary, before they can work. What brought this about was in November last year. The judiciary staff were complaining that 5 of their staff were unilaterally, arbitrarily, whimsically, and capriciously suspended by Justice Ojo, the Chief Judge, without reference to the JSC, the Judicial Service Commission of the state. And of these 5 staff, 3 of them were arraigned before the Chief Magistrate Court, and they were discharged and acquitted. 2 other staffs were subjected to appearance before panels set up by the Chief Judge herself. The panels exculpated these 2 staff and recommended that they be recalled to their offices. But as I speak to you, the whole of these 5 staff have not still been recalled. Meanwhile, their salary is being paid innocently by the government, only for the staff to be commandeered to always take the salary and bring it and pay into the finance department of the High Court of Osun State. Now, so the judicial workers or judiciary workers started accusing the Chief Judge of high-handedness, of refusal to obey rule of law, and even of using religious divisiveness to sow seeds of discord amongst judges and staff, and between judges and judges within the state. They said wardrobe allowances are not given to judges. They said the library has not been functional since 2015, in spite of the fact that 12 million naira is remitted every month for the operation of the library. They said that a system of e-affidavit was started by the Chief Judge, found out to a private consultant, and that the private consultant remits only 250 naira per affidavit to the state government coffers, while 750 naira goes to where nobody knows. So they complain about this continuously, that there's no promotion, everybody is stagnated.
Prof, sorry if I may jump in. 2 weeks ago, the governor, Demola Adeleke, sent out a release asking, giving 1 week for the Attorney General, the Secretary to the state government, to set up a small committee and ensure that this impasse is resolved immediately. And also, in that statement, the governor had also said that he put the Attorney General on notice and put the NJC on notice. Why is this going on in that state? And it does look like it's an impossible task to resolve this impasse.
I tell you, Sheon, the truth is that there was a tripartite meeting based on the governor's own intervention. Because this thing is not about the government, about the executive, or about Governor Adeleke. This is about judiciary against judiciary, staff against the Chief Judge against the staff. A tripartite meeting was set up between JUSUM, Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria, which was represented by the national president of JUSUM. The Attorney General represented Osun State government, while the Chief Registrar of the High Court of Justice of Osun State represented the Judiciary, the High Court. They arrived at certain decisions. And some of the decisions was that these 5 workers that were unlawfully, illegally, and arbitrarily suspended should be recalled. And that the 2021-2022 wardrobe allowances should be paid to those who deserve it. The library should start, and that the Chief Judge should no longer would victimize other people. And indeed, one Mrs. Bose Fagbemi, who had again been illegally transferred by the Chief Judge, while she brought in someone who she felt will work better with her, a minion, should also be recalled. I tell you, the state government quickly, from what the judiciary staff told me, quickly mobilized and paid all outstanding money so that they will fulfill all righteousness. But as we speak to you, the Chief Judge has not been able to call for a meeting of the JSC, the Judicial Service Commission. She has not recalled the 5 suspended workers, everything is at a standstill. And guess what? November last year, the staff members, feeling buffeted to a corner, decided to picket the High Court premises and the Chief Judge's office. They told me, and this is already in the public domain, in video, in words, that the Chief Judge invited the police. The police came there and brutally, forcibly, forcefully, scattered the peaceful demonstrators, shooting sporadically, tear gas. Some of these workers were injured, some were hospitalized, some ran for their dear lives. So the entire place tomorrow.
But I mean, the NJC, the NJC, looking at solution now, the NJC should be the supervisory institution over a state judiciary, for example. I mean, shouldn't the NJC be weighing in on this matter? What do you think is a way out, the solution?
As a matter of fact, the Osun and another private NGO, including the House of Assembly, have since petitioned the Chief Judge against the Chief Judge to the NJC. Don't forget that the House of Assembly had, pursuant to what they consider to be their powers, under Section 128, Subsection 2, and 129 of the Constitution, suspended the Chief Judge. Although they later said they were not suspending her, but they were recommending to NJC to suspend her. Don't forget that it is the NJC under Section 292 of the Constitution that has disciplinary powers over judges. So the NJC now has the petitions of these people. Should quickly summon a meeting to look at it. I am aware of the decision of Eleru Habib, the Attorney General of Kwara State, and other cases, including the case of Ngajiwa, that it is only the NJC that has powers, disciplinary powers over judges. And that it is when they have finished that you can even call in security agencies. So as far as I'm concerned, as far as the facts show, the Osun State government, including the Osun, including the House of Assembly, have done all they should and all they can by now sending formal petitions to the National Judicial Commission, NJC, and it is now left for the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, who also doubles as the chairman of the NJC, to quickly meet and resolve this matter. Do you know what, Sheon? Do you know what it means to close down a state judiciary for 3 months? Do you know that potential investors, when they hear about that, they will run away? That is one whole arm of government has been suspended, like what the military governments normally did. It was always because they suspended the other arms of government that we said they were military dictators, military tyrants. But here is a situation where it is neither the executive nor the legislature suspending the judiciary, but the judiciary itself suspending itself through the acts of the Chief Judge, who should actually, I must pray her, my Lord, I pray you earnestly to please, in the name of God, in the name of all that is good for Osun State and the judiciary, to look at it and climb down from your high horse. All these workers, because a house without pillars is no house.
Yeah,
that is why you can't function.
Yeah,
can't function without it. Call them for a round table meeting.
Yeah.
You can resolve this matter in 24 hours.
All right.
Even without calling the NJC. Why are you externalizing your problems,
Prof.
which you can solve?
Yeah.
Is it a matter of ego? Is it a matter of victimhood sense? I do not know. Or do you?
We're due for a break, Prof. But I must sincerely thank you. I know how passionate you are about the state of affairs, and as a patron of Osun, a lot of calls are coming on what has happened in the judiciary.
All my life, I've defended the judiciary. I've defended the judiciary all my life. Everybody knows about that. Just Google my cousin and add judiciary. I defend them because they cannot speak for themselves. Right. But what do you do in a situation where it is the judiciary dealing with itself, slapping itself, turning at itself? It's a sad story.
Professor Mike Ozekome, Professor of Law, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, thank you so much for your intervention tonight. And I hope that this works and the judiciary in Osun State will get back on its feet. Thank you so much.
Let us have hope, Nigerians. Things will be better. They'll be better. They'll be better tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Prof. We take a break. And when we return, it will be time to listen to the federal government of Nigeria on their plans to quell what has become a nationwide agitation and cry for help in the midst of hardship. We'll be hearing from the Honorable Minister for Labour. Join us again, everyone. Let's get back to our major story today, and it's about the protest in the streets of Nigeria. Labour Union and their supporters in the NLC stormed the streets of Lagos, as you can see, with the sounds of chanting and the placards that you can see there. Of course, from Lagos to the city of Abuja, the nation's capital also, you could see what goes on with the flags and the colors of the NLC. From Abuja to Bayelsa in the south-south region of the country, of course, you can see Labour workers also trooping to the street. Those who are in fact unable to stand on their own feet and being helped are also joining the marching towards the government house from Bayelsa to Delta State, still in the south-south. Protesters with their placards marching the streets with security also giving them a hand to ensure that there is no breakdown of order. Edo State in the south-south also experienced the Labour protesters who have taken to the major streets of Benin City. And of course, from there to the northwest of Kaduna State, we see also protesters. You can see them with security operatives there. To Abeokuta in the southwest, also, they were not left out. Protesters there took to the street. And in Niger State, in Minna, its state capital, of course, we see also, and our reporters captured what happened. And in the northeastern state of Yobe, and of course, in Maiduguri, also in the northeast, Taraba also, protesters joined their voices. Let's get to hear from the federal government of Nigeria what has become a major agitation in the land. They say this is a hunger protest. Honorable Minister for Labour, Honorable Onyejocha, Inkiruka Onyejocha joins us live in Abuja studio. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for joining us.
Thank you, Shehu, for having me.
The NLC president said that there was a breakdown in the conversation. There was no deal. There was a deadlock in the conversation between the federal government and Labour. What happened? Why was the federal government not able to meet Labour such that this kind of protest and demonstration wasn't able to be stalled?
Well, Shehu, I have to tell Nigerians that I do not want to join issues, and the federal government, we are not here on any platform to win an argument. What we have to present to Nigerians are facts. Remember that when our president was campaigning, he reeled out an 8-point agenda. He's not a visitor in Nigeria. He's a president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and he had his vision very clear. The number 1 point agenda of Mr. President is food security. If there is food, if there's no need for saying that Nigerians need to be fed, Nigerians need to be removed out of poverty, will there be a program for number 1, food security, number 2, poverty eradication, number 3, economic growth, number 4, access to capital, number 5, job creation, number 6, inclusiveness, which means the youth, the women, the elderly, the vulnerable? Will there be anything like to say, I have to abide by the principles of Constitution to make sure that laws are obeyed? Number 7 is rule of law. And finally, fight against corruption. That means government ab initio. Know that there is issues.
There is a plan.
There's a plan.
There's a plan, but 9 months down the line, people are saying those plans and policies are not working.
The point is
prices have skyrocketed. Nigerians are hungry.
The truth of the matter is that if you plant a seed, it will get rotten before it germinates and become fruit or become something that you'll be able to use. Nigeria, our government is on planting season. And Nigerians have to be fair to have patience for this seed that we are planted to germinate. But let me come to the issue of our negotiations. We are deadlocked. I don't understand.
Did you meet with Labour on Sunday?
Yeah, we met with Labour on Sunday.
You met with them also on Monday?
From 8 o'clock, and then we adjourned again from 2 o'clock to midnight. And then on Monday, we met from 5 o'clock. What were we telling them? We said, listen, we are all Nigerians. We go to the same market. I have people who are yearning for how to feed, including everybody, even the ministers, everybody in Nigeria. It's the same problem. Because number 2 is, remember that Labour threatened or embarked on strike before we entered an agreement on October 2nd, 2023. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Then by February, they issued 14-day ultimatum, which we responded that the agreement we entered, we are covenant people. We can't promise and then we fail. What will it benefit anybody?
Have you performed on the MOU? There are 15 items of the MOU.
Absolutely. And that was what...
But Labour says you have not kept to your promises. You have not kept to the script and the letters.
It's on paper and it's verifiable. You can go through the agreement if you have it, or I'll give it to you.
No, I in fact have a list. If you can give me your copy, I have a list as soon as it was. You remember that this was in December.
If you have your own, then take them. Let me.
All right, we can show them now to our viewers on the screen some of the agreements that the federal government reached with Labour in December of last year, and which October of last year. Yeah. Absolutely. Which of these items, 15 of them, which of them have you performed?
Number 1 is the federal government on the issue of wage award to workers, 35,000 naira. Sheung, the federal government had paid up to January the 35,000 to Nigerian workers.
Before, Honorable Minister, before January, they said the federal government paid a month and stopped paying.
Yes.
And not until when the Labour now came out before you started paying again.
The truth of the matter is that I like to engage people. Remember when I came back after Christmas break, I visited their offices. And I told them, because if you look at this agreement that we are talking about, if you go to number 13 of that agreement, you will see that it says all parties commit to henceforth abide by dictates of social dialogue in all our future engagements. It's one of the agreements that Labour is not talking about. So because I do not want this situation that we're having now to happen. So I went to their offices and I went to TUC, I went to Nigerian Labour Congress. I said, listen, we are brothers, we have the same thing we want to. See, this agreement that we have signed, that we are going to follow it to the letter, they were complaining that they had only 1 month. And when I cross-checked, it was only 1 month because they said that the portal shut down. You can verify whether it's true or false.
So how many months have you paid now?
We have paid up to January, which is October, November, December, January. We paid 4 months. We are still in February. So February is not ending and it's ongoing.
A committee on the national minimum wage has been set up.
Ajero is one of the chair of that committee. I think he's heading not east or northwest. So
that is number 1. Yeah. Minimum wage committee to be inaugurated within 1 month.
Which we have, yeah.
You didn't meet the timeline. It was supposed to be within 1 month, which is supposed to be in November, but you only inaugurated in early February.
We inaugurated, we asked Labour when did they send their nominees.
So it wasn't your problem. It was Labour.
The point that they submitted their nominees in November. And of course, you know that you have to plan. Okay.
So you've kept to the second one.
Yes, which
number
is
1,
the inauguration of committee.
You paid 4 months, that's what it said?
Yes.
Number two, you said, of course, that has been inaugurated. We saw that when that happened.
Yeah.
The federal government to suspend collection of value-added tax on diesel for 6 months beginning from October 2023. Have you done that?
Yes, of course. Cross-check with finance minister who confirmed it, even during one of the deliberations.
So you've done number three.
Yes.
Number four, federal government to accept to vote 100 billion naira for the provision of high-quality, high-capacity CNG buses for mass transit in Nigeria. Provision are also being made for initial 55,000 CNG conversion kits to kickstart an auto gas conversion program. Have you done that?
Of course, 100 billion had been provided for this. But because you have to go through procurement process, even from day one, the people handling CNG said, this particular item is not what you go to shelf to buy. You have to open LC, you have to wait for shipment, you have to wait for clearing and all that. And they have shown good faith. We've invited them in a meeting where I invited labor, organized labor, where they didn't even want the people to explain. But I said this thing is not about fighting.
So what is the promise being made by the manufacturers?
They said by March that this
CNG buses,
that the kicks and the other components will arrive in March, and then they will start coupling.
But did you give them a timeline of when to deliver?
The thing is that we want them to deliver as we speak. But there are certain things that you cannot control. You cannot control the number of days a shipment or a container will stay inside the port. You have at least 30 days.
But the government can expedite action because this affects the livelihood of Nigerians. This is supposed to alleviate.
That's why we are not. That's why we, in every conversation that we had with labor, we call this people and say, come and explain to us. Is there any way you can do it as soon as possible? Because everybody needs to get to their destination.
We understand that the federal government also pay about 30% to a certain contractor to bring in electricity buses, electric-powered buses.
Yes.
But up to now, federal government has not committed since last year more than 30%, and those buses are stuck outside of the country.
You see,
this brings a question mark on the commitment of the federal government.
People say a lot of things. You need to verify. You can ask that particular question to Minister of Finance because there are a lot of stories going around. I'm interested in CNG that is part of the agreement.
Because we are talking about the plans that the government has in ensuring that transportation, which is a major component of the effect of the removal of subsidy. And I'm bringing, these are not rumors, these are not talks. These are real issues that I'm bringing. Why government will engage a contractor, give the contractor 30%, and they've forgotten about it. This is Nigerian money.
They didn't, I'm not sure anybody will forget about, apart from bureaucratic processes or procurement process. There's nobody that government will engage at this particular time that government or the contractor will go to sleep. Because everybody wants this thing to be done.
Number 5, federal government to implement various tax incentive measures for private sector and the general public. Has that been done?
Yes, absolutely.
To what length?
To the length that the Minister of Finance can, because he said that this particular item has been done, which is number 5. And when we were discussing, I told the organized labor that this particular item, we can verify from Minister of Finance. You understand? Because you know that this particular one, the tax incentives, if people are not, if you're not a player, you may not know whether it's done or not.
Well, you need to be able to present a verifiable facts and figures.
So
Even the Minister of Finance or Ministry of Finance able to present facts and figures for Nigerians to be able to appreciate.
So I'm telling you that as we speak, that on the issue of various tax incentives as contained in the agreement, government has commenced series of engagement with relevant stakeholders while all necessary machineries are being put in place for effective implementation.
You are still on the process of engagement.
That is after the report I got before the day we met with labor. And I believe the truth of the matter, you see, some tax incentives, if you give it, and it did not reflect, you can reflect it at the end of the year through deductions or through, if you are supposed to deduct maybe 5 naira, and because of the tax incentive, you may not deduct it. And that's why we are saying that stakeholders, while all necessary machineries are being put in place for effective implementation,
So
because this one is not...
What was it on these 15 items that was too difficult to agree on in your meeting?
Let me tell
on Sunday and Monday? What was it that caused the disagreement?
The point is that as we got into the negotiation on Sunday, Labour said we should, organized Labour said we should keep this agreement. That is no more about this agreement. That they had over the weekend have been reeling out what we've done and what we've not done, and we said we've done virtually all. And I believe that, as far as I'm concerned, we've done almost all the things in this agreement.
How many percentage would you say you've done?
I would say 90%.
Of everything?
Yes, because on the vulnerable household, 3,140,819 households have received 25,000 naira, which is
Are you
number
able to show Nigerians, the people who are receiving this money? You know, there's been question mark about these monies and the disbursement.
This particular disbursement has been verified through NIN and then biometrics, because the committee was set, mind you. Minister of Digital Economy, Finance Minister, Permanent Secretary, and some other committees, even the Youth, Minister for Youth, they are involved in this committee that are doing this.
So what was it that caused the disagreement, really?
And listen, by this week, they will continue the remaining one, because the Minister of Finance said yesterday that within this week, they will continue with the remaining household that had been captured, had been verified. It's not, and they use verifiable data this time around to make sure that the people who are receiving it are vulnerable people indeed. And so I believe that if we have not done substantially well, the organized labor wouldn't say that it's not the agreement, the issue of this agreement that is the problem. That the problem now is issue of hunger and prices of...
So what would the government do about the issue of hunger? Because people are hungry, aren't they?
People are hungry, but government has shown good faith that they are tackling it. We met with Ministry of Agri yesterday to brief them on what they have been doing since May last year. And I can just read a small excerpt on that. Just hold on. Ministry of Agri was in the meeting on Sunday, and he told Labour that the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, remember, it was not Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security before. So government knows that there will be food crisis because of what has happened over the years, which all of us know. But that's not why we are here today. He said, the projects and programs executed from May 2023 till date are as follows. Dry season farming for wheat, rice, maize, and cassava as major food security staples began in November 2023. Under this project, 118,670 hectares of wheat was planted in November 2023 across 15 northern wheat states. This involved a total of 32,343 farmers. This is expected to constitute 474,680 metric tons of wheat products expected to be harvested over the next 2-3 weeks.
All right. So
2-3 weeks.
Yeah, madam, for us to wrap this up quickly, is the fact that the labor is on the street and they will go on tomorrow. What is your word? Because you are saying you've done everything possible, but it looks like Labour is not on the same page with you. Why do you think that the Labour is not on the same page? What do you think is going on?
For me, I believe that Labour is just being Labour. They have to show sympathy to Nigerians. Oh, there's hunger in the land, all this kind of thing. But I am saying, and I have said it several times to them, the times are very precarious. The times we are in is where everybody should show patriotism. It is the time that everybody should be on the same page. Presidents have said times without number that he is the driver, all his appointees are conductors, all Nigerians are passengers, and we have the same destination. And that is why under Ministry of Labour and Employment, which is where I sit, we embarked on a program of LEAP, Labour Employment Empowerment Program, where we are going to give 2.5 million jobs in 1 year.
That's what you do?
Yes, having to revive and then re-establish the mandate of the ministry, which is to reduce poverty and reduce unemployment.
Minister, unfortunately, we are totally out of time. I must sincerely thank you. I wish that we had more time, but, well, I hope that Nigerians have gotten your message tonight, and I wish you and your team the very best. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you.
Honorable Nkiruka Onyejocha, the Minister of Labour, who's been speaking with us on the side of what the federal government is doing. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'm Sean Okimale. God bless Nigeria.